All right, joining us now is the executive chairman and CEO of 1792 Exchange, a nonprofit working to protect freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and free enterprise. Doug Napier, welcome to Victory News, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So, Doug, do you think a renegotiation of trade with Mexico and Canada, independent of each other, is a good move for the United States?
Well, I think the United States has always tried to position itself so that the advantage is to American businesses while still opening up certainly export opportunities as well as import for trade and other things. At 1792, we've been focused on helping American businesses act more like American businesses. And while the Trump administration is working on policies that will certainly impact the boardroom and their decisions as far as international trade, we want companies to respond in like kind by aligning their objectives and as well as their behaviors with those American principles that have made America great. So the America First ideology that Trump is advancing works on trade, but it also works on the internal practices of the company where we're focused.
Now, socialist Malat Quiros unseated a 15-term incumbent Democrat in Colorado. She said Denver welcomed her father from Ethiopia, and now it is catapulting her forward.
And that same city just voted to send a 29-year-old recovering lawyer, barista, immigrant, Democratic Socialist to Congress!
So, Doug, what is your reaction to this socialist growth inside the Democrat Party?
Well, it should be a concern for everybody. I think a lot of folks think it's a fluke or a flash in the pan, but they're getting momentum, and I think the party itself is being divided. And the impact not only on our social programs and the social fabric, but also the corporate world. I mean, companies need to understand what the impact of having socialists, and I think the folks and businesses that have their headquarters in New York City are already experiencing this under Mandami, and they're realizing taxes are going up, and the thumb of the government on the scales of corporate decision-making and others is heavy. And so I think we need to be alarmed and concerned about the influence of the socialistic mindset on our economy, on our culture, and certainly on American businesses.
And Doug, your organization, the 1792 Exchange, is involved in getting businesses to stop funding gender transition procedures on children. How are corporations involved in this?
This is one of, I think, the great embarrassments and tragedies of our American corporate policy right now. And it's been a sleeper for a while, and 1792 has shined a light on these behaviors when companies are creating health insurance plans that fund the sex-denying treatments and procedures of minors. This is a travesty. It's not only tragic for the kids, but it's really tragic for the families, and quite frankly, I think it's criminal. So they've done this through their health insurance plans, and they've put it in their health insurance plans because they've allowed these third-party activist organizations like the Human Rights Campaign, who's put a gun to their head and said, if you want to get a score of 100 on our corporate equality index, you have to keep adding all of these additional benefits and programs. And one of them most recently was you have to fund these sex-denying procedures for our minors. We have to care for our kids, not cut them up.
And Doug, tell us about the 1792 Exchange and its larger mission, and begin by telling us why 1792.
Sure. Well, 1792 was the year in which the Buttonwood Agreement was signed in Wall Street, and it was when 24 companies came together and said, we need to restore confidence and integrity in the markets. And that was basically the threshold for forming the New York Stock Exchange. Since we're involved in the corporate space and we're working with companies that are publicly traded and giving them data so they can get back to business, serving customers, serving shareholders, getting out of the ideological swamp and being pulled into progressive politics and protecting families and protecting American values. That's what we're focused on. And we do that largely through public data. We have a database called the Corporate Bias Rating, and we've profiled over 4,500 companies, and we revealed those practices that are un-American and are not good for business and not good for customers and not good for the culture.
All right, you can learn more about the 1792 Exchange by visiting 1792exchange.com. Doug, it's been great to have you on Victory News today.